Good morning you guys, it's Karen and Happy New Year to you. I know that this isn't the first video you've seen in the new year, but this is the first video I've recorded in the new year. Today we are talking about the differences between Tretinoin or Retin A. The one that I use is called Retinoids, and I've got the box here that I keep it in the fridge. And Differin. Now, I can't find my tube of Differin, and I've got a funny feeling I may have given it away since moving over to Tretinoin. I'm terrible like that. I just chuck things away without really thinking. Anyway, I got a request for this, and I was actually in the middle of looking at the differences and thinking of doing a video, so that was good. That always encourages me because I think, well, at least one person will enjoy it. I've got my notes as always, so I'm going to tell you the differences in formulas, but I do just want to let you know that it isn't a case of I've used Differin all over my face and neck for any length of time at all. I think I used Differin on my neck once, and I tried to put it over my face a couple of times, but I was really using it for acne. So this isn't a direct comparison as to how it works for aging from me, but I can tell you what the evidence is. Okay, let's talk about price. So you've got Differin, which is the name for Adapalene. Adapalene is the actual product, but it's called Differin, and you can get it from Boots in the UK. I think you have to go through a little consultation and then you can buy it, and the cost is about £15. I think it's £14.90. For Tretinoin, I've done a whole video on how you can buy it from the UK, and it works out about £28 including the shipping, etc. So it's about £14 versus £28, so double the price for Tretinoin. You can buy both of them in a gel or cream form, but the differences begin with the strength. So for Retinoids this is, but for Tretinoin you can buy it in 0.025%, 0.05% and 0.1%. For Differin you can only buy it in 0.1% in either a cream or a gel, but you can also get it on prescription at 0.3%, and there isn't any way really of matching the two. I'm sure that people will want to know, well, what is the equivalent strength of 0.1% Tretinoin in Adapalene? I could really only guess and say that probably you would want a 0.3% Adapalene or Differin to match the strength of the Tretinoin 0.1%. And I say that simply because it's the highest level in both. You can't buy a 0.3% as yet, or certainly you can't in the UK. I don't know about anywhere else, but certainly in the UK you can only buy 0.1%. I believe it's the same kind of worldwide pretty much, that 0.3% is a prescription only, as is Tretinoin. Tretinoin is a prescription only product, but we happen to be able to buy it from Andorra, from a pharmacy in Andorra. One thing to mention that I think will really be of interest to some, or to vegetarians or vegans, is that looking at the Adapalene ingredients, it doesn't seem to appear on all of them, and I never kept the box, so I wouldn't be able to check that, I can only check it online, but I noticed that it says natural squalane. That means that it comes from shark liver oil and that it's not vegan, so that may be something that's important to you. So it seems that for the most part Adapalene Differin is not vegan. I can't see anything in the Tretinoin creams that would mean it's not vegan, but obviously I can't tell you that it is. The big question is, do they work differently, and can you get the same level of anti-aging from Differin as you can from Tretinoin? And when I did the video on Differin, I have done a whole video talking about Differin, I got a lot of responses saying that this doesn't work for aging, it works very differently. And there's an element of truth in that it does work differently to Tretinoin. Of course it does, it's a different product, but it is appearing to be working for aging, for wrinkles, for fine lines, etc. And I will talk about the evidence and the research, etc. But the difference between the two and how they work is that Tretinoin activates what are known as RAS, which are the retinoic acid receptors in our skin, and Tretinoin activates all of them. Differin or Adapalene activates only some of them. So that's one of the things that kind of separates them, and that might sound initially like, well, that would make Tretinoin more effective. It's not necessarily the case, because there may be some retinoic acid receptors that you don't want to be activated. There's a lot more to it than that, but that is how they work differently. So when looking at research, what I found is that there is a lot of studies on Tretinoin, as we know, as expected, and in Differin I found that there were a couple of studies looking at it for the treatment of acne, and that seemed to show that at 0.1%, I couldn't remember if it was 0.1 or 0.3, that's where the notes come in, 0.1% Differin is as effective as a 0.025 tretinoin cream. So there was a study done showing that they worked in exactly the same way. They would be both as effective as each other for acne. And there was another one showing that comparison of those two products was also as effective in melasma. So that was really interesting. There's two things there that are showing real promise. And it is prescribed, Differin is prescribed for acne. I was prescribed it probably 10 years ago, maybe even longer than that, before I even knew what tretinoin was. For anti-aging, however, there is just not much evidence out there at all, and there's not much research been done, but I did find one study that showed it to be very good in as an anti-ager. It showed to improve fine lines and wrinkles, but it was in a very small sample group. It wasn't a big study, it wasn't a double-blind study, etc., but it showed results. However, it was in the 0.3% that you can only get on prescription. That's the evidence for them. The differences between how you use them, one thing I should say is that Differin is much more stable than tretinoin. Tretinoin is known to be unstable, Differin is much more stable. So in essence, you don't need to worry as much about storage, about putting the cap on really tight, about storing it in the fridge if that's what you want to do. That's an area where I do store mine in the fridge, but I haven't fully explored that, and I will in the future. But for now, I'm keeping it in the fridge. That's another one of those things that some people think you should, some people think you shouldn't. So I will at some point dig through all of the evidence and see what would be the best thing. Anyway, it would seem that you don't have to do that with Differin because it isn't as unstable as tretinoin. The other thing is application. With tretinoin, generally you start off using it perhaps once a week, moving up to twice a week, moving up to every 3 days or every other day, I think is the most people use it. I don't know, you guys can tell me if there's anybody that uses it daily. I don't know whether you ever can get to the point where you use it daily. And that is because of the dryness and peeling and irritation, etc. Whereas with Differin, you start off using it once daily. And that was certainly how I used the Differin that I was prescribed. Okay, so the question I think everybody will be interested in is how does it compare regarding irritation and peeling and dryness, etc. Like I said at the beginning, I didn't use Differin consistently, and I didn't try it really for aging. I did use it for a very short amount of time, and so I can give you my comments on that, but it wasn't a proper trial, if you like, as I normally like to do. When I used it for acne, which was years and years ago, I just used it in my chin area here, and I did use it every night. I did find it a little bit of dryness, but nothing compared to what I get from using tretinoin every 3 days, every 2 or 3 days. As far as for the acne, for me, I'm not sure if it worked or not, because around about the same time that I got it, I was put on a drug that helps, and I've been on that drug ever since, and I believe that to be the thing that works for me, because I didn't use Differin for many, many years, and I didn't get too many breakouts, certainly nothing like I used to get. Then when I saw a video, I think it was a YouTube video talking about Differin, and it was all over YouTube as if it was like a new product, and I thought, oh my goodness, I never even thought about using that. I didn't believe at the time that I could get hold of tretinoin for aging, and I thought, but I've got this Differin, I get it on prescription, mine was still in date, so I started to use that on my face, all over my face, and again, I didn't get anywhere near the level of peeling and dryness that I get on tretinoin. It was so much more bearable, and if there was as much evidence for Differin as there is for tretinoin, I would 100% use Differin, and I had it in both the gel and the cream. I tried both, but I would always recommend the cream. Gels are definitely thought to be more effective, but the creams are thought to be less irritating because they've got some kind of emollient in them. They are a cream. So from my experience, much less dryness on the Differin, no peeling and no irritation. Actually, I didn't have like itchy skin. It didn't go red. I tried it on my neck. I did use it once on my neck. No reaction whatsoever. And I think that it's known for that. Differin is known for being less irritating than tretinoin. And I've read a couple of people's experiences of it, which has been the same, that it's less irritating than using tretinoin. Okay, so I've listed the advantages and disadvantages of both products here. That might help you decide which one you'd prefer to use. So for Differin or Adapalene, it's quicker. The results with Differin are quicker. I should have mentioned that in the research bit, but it showed that if you're using it for acne, that you'll get quicker results using Differin. Tretinoin will just take you a bit longer. And remember that I said that 0.1% Differin is equal to a 0.025 tretinoin insofar as acne results. So if you have really bad acne, I know the struggle to to solve the problem and to get it done as quickly as possible, because it really knocks your confidence. So Differin would work quicker for you. Another thing that's great about Differin is it has less irritation. So if you are somebody that is not getting on well with Tretinoin, which I can totally understand now using it, I'm like, it's a real struggle with peeling skin, with dry skin, not so much with irritation, but you'll get less of that with Differin. You'll be able to use it more, you'll see quicker results, and you'll have less irritation. Another advantage is it's more stable, and of course it's less expensive than Tretinoin. And also you can get it through a more sort of acceptable route, I guess, because you're going to a chemist and having a good consultation, and rather than just ordering it from outside of the country. And the final thing is a disadvantage, and that is that it's not proven as much as Tretinoin, but it is showing scientifically that it does work on certain receptors, and so in theory it works. It's just that there isn't the evidence yet to back that up. Moving on to Tretinoin, obviously the number one advantage for it, and really the only thing that it's got going for it, is the evidence behind it, that it is known to work on texture, on fine lines, on pigmentation, on acne, albeit taking a bit of a longer time, but the evidence is there that it works. And the big disadvantage is that it does cause dryness, peeling, and a lot of irritation in varying degrees, but I haven't yet had anybody that said they've used Tretinoin and haven't had a problem with peeling or dry skin. So I think that is a pretty universal side effect. So I would personally say, if you are tackling acne, I would try Differin first, so that you don't have to suffer the side effects of Tretinoin, and see how you get on with it. Wanting to use it for aging, then of course Tretinoin is the kind of gold standard, but again, if you don't want to deal with all the irritation and the dryness, then you could try Differin. For me personally, I am going to continue using my Tretinoin cream. I have already bought 0.025, 0.5% and 0.1%, and so I'm going to continue to use those, because those are what I have, and I want to see what, if anything, the results are. However, I have made a discovery about Tretinoin that is a little bit alarming, and I'm going to do a whole video on it. I'm going to record it after this. So I don't normally say to you guys at the end, please subscribe and whatnot. I don't feel comfortable saying that, but I am going to do this other video on the scare of Tretinoin, and if you would like to make sure you don't miss it, if you click, there's a little bell underneath the video, if you click that bell, subscribe and the bell, it will notify you, and you'll actually get an email telling you when the video goes up, because I'm not sure if I'll get it done today, if I do get it done, if I get it edited, etc, etc. In that video I'll give you an update on where I'm at with my Retinoids, what I'm going to do going forward, etc. Although I can tell you just now, I'm still using it every 2 to 3 days. My plan is use it every 3 days, but then my skin seemed to be okay every 3 days, and so I would then sometimes go, well, I'm going to use it every 2 days, and then I would go like, oh no, that's too strong, let me go back to 3 days, that's fine, you know. I'm finding it a little bit difficult to judge, and that's probably partly to do with my impatience. But today, for example, I haven't used it I didn't use it last night, I didn't use it the night before, but I don't know whether you can see my makeup is completely patchy on that eye, because all over that eye is peeling skin, and not peeling skin that I could get rid of. I have tried to gently exfoliate it, it didn't work, and it's just something that I have to put up with for now. And close up, I think my foundation doesn't look great, to be honest. It looks a little bit patchy, so yeah, I'm still trying to balance exactly how many days a week to use it. Anyway, that's pretty much everything comparing the two. The only thing I didn't tell you was availability. It's obviously much more comforting to be able to get something in your own country from a company that you trust, such as Boots, rather than ordering it from an online pharmacy. It's always, I think, going to make you feel more comforted. So that's perhaps another advantage for Differin. And that's everything. That's everything there is to tell you about the differences between the two. I'm sorry that I can't give you a bigger kind of comparison regarding their efficacy, if you like, but in order to do that I would have needed to have not been using Tretinoin, and I would have had to use Differin for 6 months to a year, then Tretinoin for 6 months to a year. That would be a pretty long study. And who knows, maybe I'll do that at some point, because I do still have access to get Differin on prescription. That's everything. A rundown of what I'm wearing, etc. I've got on Bare Minerals Bare Prey Foundation is 09. I've got on the Hourglass blush. What was it's not Dim Infusion. Maybe it is Dim Infusion. Anyway, Hourglass Ambient Lighting Blush, and I will leave the details in the description. MAC Tan Pigment, Too Faced liquid lipstick in Child Star. These earrings are from H&M. I just love them. I absolutely love them. And I love that you can kind of see them with my hair up like this. Somebody asked for a tutorial on this hairstyle, but I have actually done a tutorial for how I do my curls, and then I literally just, I've got this little pin, you know, that I just take a little bit of hair and pin it. It's really not very scientific whatsoever, you know, there's no skill involved. And then this top is, do you remember I had a black one that I was wearing in recent videos? I loved it so much I bought the navy blue one. And this is from Patty Boutique, so I'll make sure I link that as well. That's everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.